Going to be playing some pedit5. I figured that since I made a clone of it, I should actually beat the game. So that's what I'm going to be trying to do. I'm playing this on pterm, connecting to cyber1.org. Jumping into the pedit5 lesson. It is loading the monsters. And let's begin. I'm going to create a new character. This guy is alright. It's going to be Steve. We don't care about his secret name because I'm not going to store him. For the unfamiliar, which I can't imagine anyone who's looking at this video is, pedit5 was one of the original CRPGs, probably the first, definitely the oldest one preserved. You are exploring a dungeon. Your goal is to get 20,000 gold, 20,000 experience, where each gold piece corresponds to one extra piece of point of experience. Came out in 1975 originally, and it is fairly basic. You will die a lot. The secret is to maximize your spell use. I'm going to be mapping this as I go. There was no point for me to leave there because I didn't do any combat, but that's fine. Every room, I believe, can randomly have a monster in it, like this. Giant ant. Giant ants are creatures that are vulnerable to sleep. Any creature that's not undead, that's level 4 or below, instantly kill it with a sleep spell. Now you'll notice that I have no mage or cleric spells left. At the start of the game, you have just one mage spell that gets refreshed when you leave the dungeon. So it's important to always leave the dungeon to increase your spell slots, because if you're caught in a random encounter, you will, without any spells to instantly kill them, you will probably die. What I'm doing right now, I'm going through this door, is a mistake. There's a possibility that there will be a creature in this room that's just placed there. In fact, I am going to do the smarter approach and go back. Check this out. This did not have any creatures. And I'm mapping this. Oh, we ran into a Sturge. Sturge can be killed by sleep, so it's fine. So I'm mapping this out because treasures are, I believe, always in a fixed location in a given run, and they don't move around. So there's no reason to revisit a room if you don't have to. My goal is to get to 1,000 experience. At least in the short term, because then I will. Oh, so this is an undead character, which means they're immune to sleep. So I'm going to be doing magic missile. This is kind of, I think, the most dangerous enemy we'll encounter. This class of enemy, because they aren't killed. Well, skill level 5 and level 6 that would just destroy me in this case. Okay, I am probably going to die here. Yes. That's combat in the game. So let's try that again. I believe it was 89. I'm going to double check. Yep. Jump into pedit. Make a new character. This one is just worse than my previous one. This one's going to be Jack. If you don't make them a temporary character, they will show up in the list, but also every time you leave the dungeon, you will have to sign back in. So it's more convenient to just save them as temporary. I think a successful run of this is somewhere around the order of 30 minutes, and you can just stay connected. So there's no reason to store them. think that might have been the same treasure we saw the last time. Oh, one piece of jewelry. That's very good. Okay. That was the worst piece of jewelry we could get, but it's still going to, I believe, give me a level. No, maybe it's 1500 for the first level. Go there. I want to make sure I'm methodically visiting every room. Every time I fail to break in, it's increasing the turn counter. When the turn counter hits 4, there will be a 1 in 6 chance for a random encounter. We'll be entering a corridor. And happen to know that there's a secret wall to the north. Every time you walk past, there's a chance that it will be revealed. Uh, but if you have your map, you just know where they are. Gone a long time without actually seeing an enemy. Oh, okay, great. It's undead. The magic missile seems like it has a really low chance to hit. I'm going to die here. Yeah. Combination of bad luck and then, or good luck and then really bad luck there. This one is fine. I think it's you have to have a strength above 15 to get any bonus and below a 7. So we're middle of the pack there. Dexterity, I think, is to determine who goes first in battle, which has some impacts. Below the covers, you always get the pre-combat action. This one's going to be Joe. Forget if I mentioned the secret name is the password you use to load the character if they're stored. And of course, we run into an undead right away. I actually did kill it, so that's a minor miracle. Out of spell slots, so I'm going to leave. Fortunately, still not enough for a level up. Gargoyle, fine. We can instantly kill it. And now we leave the dungeon because I am out of spells. Oh, so out of spells means I'm going to have to enter into normal combat or run. So I don't, as far as I know, there's no advantage to fighting over running because I don't think fighting gets you any bonus to hit. But you generally always want to run because you could die otherwise. The caveat is that if you're in a room, you will not run successfully. It will give you the option, but you will not succeed. I successfully ran, so that's great. Now we leave the dungeon again and re-enter. One of the mildly annoying things is can't just have the info screen open. You have to open it every time. But ultimately, it doesn't matter too much. Now, the question is, should I run or should I cast Magic Missile? You've seen Magic Missile doesn't seem to have a great success rate. Although I don't know how many of those failures is just not killing the monster right away. So I don't know what the run success rate is. So I'm just going to go with Magic Missile with the thought that you'd think they'd make it a little bit more effective than run, but who knows with a game like this. It worked. And we leave the dungeon. Should be pretty obvious. I've played some of this before, and I've seen a lot of people talking about the mechanics because my goal was to create a functionally a clone of the game. So I had to do a lot of the lookups. My game ended up being, I think, a whole lot easier because the treasure distribution isn't quite as swingy. So it's easier to get high, fast level ups than it is here. You look at a speedrun, it's just people looking for the high value treasures at the start, and then they get those fast speedrun. Otherwise, it's not. It's not. I think a particularly compelling speedrun game because it is just knowledge of the dungeon, but also luck. Right? We're having good luck with not getting killed by enemies in this run. Now, I really wish I had enough experience to level up because I am getting further and further into the dungeon. Further into the dungeon you are, the higher the chance there is that you're just going to come across multiple enemies, which dramatically increases your chance to die. Leveling up will eventually increase my spell slots, which will boost my survivability considerably. 500 silver pieces, while it may sound impressive, is actually just 50 XP. The nice thing about encountering level 4 enemies that aren't undead is that they're just as easy to kill as the level 1 ones, but they give you more experience. Fortunately, still not quite there to another level. Difference between my game, which I don't think I've mentioned yet, standard deviations GGB rim gauntlet beneath, and this is that my map has a lot more connectivity than this one. This one you'll regularly run into dead end, which isn't as common. Mine. I think that's a weakness of my level design. Because it turns out that the amount of exits to different parts of the dungeon are actually pretty minimal in this game. There's a choke point, which I haven't gone through yet, which is gating my progress to the rest of the dungeon. And that's a like a texture of the dungeon that's just different. That harpy will get me enough, I think, for a cleric spell, not technically level 2. The problem I have is that I will eventually go on autopilot, so I will. Yeah, there's this first cleric spell. I will stop paying attention to where I am in the dungeon, and then I will surely die. You can cast spells outside of battle. Any any spell with an asterisk does not work. It wasn't implemented. The developer, Rusty Rutherford III, I believe, planned to implement them, but didn't get around to it. And the successors to this made their own version. I'm not sure what cleric spell I want to put on. Cure Wounds heals me. I don't need to do that. Realistically, if I'm going to get damaged in battle, I'm probably going to die anyway. Protection makes enemies less likely to hit. Prey makes me more likely to hit. I don't know what the advantage is. I'm going to choose protection. I don't. Okay, there's an indicator that protection is active. We got, I think that just, okay, we got 400 silver pieces, so we're just not getting lucky with these drops. So the core loop is methodically exploring the dungeon, being very careful, and hoping you get a good loot distribution. It's always tempting to say, "Oh, it's a just a level 1 guy. I can fight him." But then you die. So really the answer is play it safe. Okay, what we have here is probably my death. It is a level 5 wyvern. I'm in a room, so I cannot run. Can't use my level 2 spells. Gonna try magic missile because sleep won't work. Arm also won't work. Charm is a percentage chance spell. It only works on man and like goblin type creatures of any level, but this is a mythical creature, so it won't work. And there we go. So anyone can log in to Cyber One using pterm, using the demo logins that they tell you how to use. I have an account that I signed up for, so my interface will be a little bit different than yours if you try to play it. We're going to go with Jill this time. Vanilla character attributes not going to make a difference. I did sleep, which was a mistake. Sorry, Jill. That was not my best run. The nice thing is I don't need to clear out any of the areas that I visited from my map because I didn't visit any area. Now, my intelligence here is possibly high enough that I get a bonus, although I don't actually know what intelligence does. I think it might increase damage on spell attacks. There is pretty extensive documentation that I should have run through before starting the game. This is just kind of going off of my memory. There's a lot of other videos that show that documentation for you. Okay, we got a beast, level 5. Probably I'm dead. Gonna do a magic missile. I don't actually know how the stats are computed for these creatures. I know that in original D&D, there's a hit die for the amount of hits that they take, but not how strength and damage is computed. I ended up doing a kind of simplified version of it for my game. Now we're gonna be me entering the dungeon this time. Giant Weasel, great level, just what I wanted. Okay, I had a room encounter and then a random encounter, which is bad luck. Now gonna be fighting a level 3 giant ant. It's not looking good for Kevin because I'm in a room and I cannot run. Oh, I killed it, so that's good luck for Kevin. Very good news. I believe how it places the treasure is that it's always right next to where you enter, so you don't really need to search rooms if you know the layout of it. Same with the placed monster encounter. Like you see here, it's always, they're both one tile up. 20 gold pieces, kind of a pathetic treasure. And we're leaving. As you may guess, turns also increment as you move, in addition to bashing doors or doing combat. So you don't want to explore if you don't have to. 40 gold pieces. I am getting a lot of low value treasure. I don't believe that there's any impact on the monsters you encounter or the treasure you get based on how far in you are. So there is a lot of hoping for the best. In my version, I don't differ treasure based on how far you're in, but maybe I should have. The monsters you'll tend to encounter, no, might be the end for Kevin. More powerful enemies as you go further in, although it's not guaranteed. Kevin is having very good luck. He did take some damage, you can see, down to 6 health points from the original 10, I believe. So I only lost one. I do wonder if I would be better off. Yeah, that's the end for Kevin. I'd be better off just restarting if I don't get some good treasure in the first few rooms, but that feels against the spirit of the game for me, so I'm not going to. Yeah, there we go. Rusty Rutherford. don't know what it is. Whenever I give my characters a female name, they are not long for the world. Oh, this character has a very bad strength score, which means they're going to get a -1 on bashing through doors and a -1 on attacks. That's not insurmountable, but it's not great. But ultimately, a good treasure roll at some point could overcome all the discrepancy. But something you probably noticed is that better to get the random encounters in a room, or sorry, in a corridor than in a room, as in a corridor you can flee. This is another difference that I made in my game where you can run in rooms, but if there is a treasure, the monster will run with that treasure to another room. So it makes it a little bit less punishing. Pretty much all my changes, I think, ended up making it less punishing, which is kind of the draw of this, but they're all changes that I think make it more enjoyable. I also implemented all of the spells that were unimplemented by the developer, although they do not match the normal D&D behavior. All the spells I believe that were unimplemented had to do with surprise mechanics, and I don't know how it was originally intended to be implemented, but if the surprise took away your pre-combat action, then it would make it even less likely for you to win. I do kind of wonder if that's part of the reason it never got implemented, because increasing the lose rate for this probably isn't making it a more enjoyable experience. We did get you. Oh, okay. So we got a 6,000 point jewelry. That's, I believe, the highest in the game. We'll come into the dungeon. We are not sure what level we are, but you can see I have 3 first level mage spell spots, 1 second level, 2 cleric spells, first level cleric spells, 1 second level. So this is the point where I start really hoping that I don't die, because I've gotten a lot, but we now have access to high level spells. Although I don't know how useful the second level cleric spells are, but Blast Bolt will be my get out of jail for creatures that I can't sleep. Then ESP and invisibility, as I mentioned, do not work. In my game, ESP lets you sense the next random encounter that's going to arrive and tells you what it is. Invisibility for me guarantees leaving an encounter successfully, and then as long as you're invisible, all run chances will automatically succeed. So you can see how swingy it is. I forget the name of the guy that I was playing, but he'd made it further into the dungeon, but didn't have anywhere close to this amount of experience. I'm hoping to get to level 10,000, at which point I'll get a second level mage slot, and I'll be able to cast speed as well as having my blast bolt for insurance. You'll notice I no longer need to leave right away because I do have multiple sleep. Although, as you can see, enemies can really stack up, so it can be beneficial to be a little bit more paranoid. Although, the more trips you run into the dungeon, the higher chances you're going to run into a level 6 dragon, which has a good chance of ruining your day. I think I am going to take this exit because this will get me to the next level, get me another hit die. So I'm up to 18 hit points, which hopefully will help. It's all random, so who knows. Certainly shouldn't decrease my chances. And I am going to just make a run for the exit. Because there is a non-zero chance I will run into a random encounter on my way back. Okay, well, there it is. So we got our level 6 dragon, the toughest creature in the game. I'm in a room, so I cannot run. My two choices that I needed to choose between are Dispel Myth, which has a chance of instant killing dragon, although the documentation, let me pull it up, says disturbs mythical monsters only when you refuse to believe in them. They may leave in disgust, not too effective on dragons who are very sure of themselves. So it's not giving me a percentage chance, but it is implying that it won't be very successful. My other choice is to do a blast bolt, which Last gasp shot at a superior enemy puts 5 to 30 hits on him, 3 to 15 if he is able to duck part of it. I'll exhaust all my remaining energy for magic. Think I'm going to go with Blast Bolt, but oh, okay. So that got me a good amount of experience. Just got back from a 20-minute long phone call, so I'm hoping that I remember where I am. And if I was talking about something, I apologize. But that dragon miraculously did not kill me. Like I said, getting close to the second level mage spell, which will be huge for me. Because being able to zoom through the dungeon will make random encounters show up half as often. It will also make my status effects last twice as long. I'm just going to go back. This is where having a low strength is starting to get to me a little bit. Magic Sword +1, which I think will boost my chance to hit and damage my wand, so it'll negate my damage that I took. Sorry, not the damage that I took. That's what I get for thinking while trying to talk. The damage that I will do. Okay, we've now hit. Oh, that's interesting. The Magic Sword did give me a plus, but it didn't show up under my money. So we now have two fourth level, sorry, two second level mage slots. Gonna put one on invisibility, one on protection. run quickly out of spell slots there, but that was a mistake. Didn't mean to go into that room. My speed has already run off. That seems surprisingly quick. Next level, or the next level up, well, it doesn't matter. Get a second level cleric spell at level, or at experience 12,000. After that, level 5 at 16,000. And then 20,000 is retirement. So I could be doing a lot worse. All right, we've reached 2 level slots. Now, I'm not sure what actually they're useful for. Maybe a level 5 creature or a mythical creature. I don't know. Or if it's like a level 5 man, I want to use hold, which is a better version of charm. So something that's cool about Pedit is because it's hosted on a server, you can't data mine it, which is, yeah, I get online only, whatever, but there's not a lot of good maps for this game. In fact, the map that I'm using had something that I just found that wasn't on the map. So you do, and yes, I'm using some. You can't just look up the solution. So there is a an exploration element to it. One of the things people were lamenting about this game not having back in the day, or maybe more just contemporary reviews, is traps. I don't I don't know how interesting I'd find traps with these mechanics, because in some ways monsters act like traps, but I suppose I'll have to see how other Play-Doh games implement traps to see if I think it would be interesting here. Might try hold here. Okay, still long Sue. On the plus side, at least this one had bad strength, and the previous one broke the curse. I'm a little bit sad about that one because I could taste victory. That is the nature of this game, that you are never really safe. Wish I'd had that luck. I guess I did survive a dragon, so it's not like I didn't have luck. Trying that because it feels like there should be a door there. Well, got a magic sword +1, so that's somewhat of a boost for my survivability. Yeah, probably will all this if I do not beat it in 2 hours. 2 hours feels like a long session length for this. Don't know why that's the next person's name that comes to mind. I should have run. I'm losing my game. Off my game. This is ultimately you are going to run out of things to say. This requires just the right combination of having to map and having to think, where you can't just vamp about random things. So this I can't even charm this creature. Yeah. Okay, actually, this one's high enough that I believe I will get a strength bonus. don't know why I didn't run back. Wow, that is bad luck. That's very good luck. Okay. No, I think part of the problem with this game, and I back propagate it to mine because I'm using mostly the same experience values. You really don't get much for killing enemies unless they're. Oh, let's see if charm will do it for me. Oh, okay. Unless they're high level, in which case, like, there's a good chance you'll die anyway. Like, you would think killing a level 6 enemy, a level 1, would get me back, level me up. But no, it actually, I do have the EXP tables right now. Level 6 man is 420 experience points. So it's a third the way, approximately, to the base value. Now, there is a jump. It's 0 to 1500 and then 1500 to 2000. Oh, come on. Let's see if running will work. Okay, running worked. To not forget about running. And it is giving me a lot of trash this run. Ultimately, I think this is probably better served by playing like a run or two every day as opposed to how I'm doing it, which is just trying to blitz through it. Maybe that is a sign that I should stop this earlier than 2 hours. But I'm in a nice rhythm. Okay, well, so much for I think that was Adam. Let's see if healing to the creator's ego will give me good luck. Oh, not the worst luck. It does seem like running actually has a pretty good chance of succeeding, but you have to actually be in a room, not in a room. Run. There aren't all that many corridors, so we got a level 5 creature, but it is goblin like, so I could theoretically charm it. Success. I did. Not that much experience though. He's not having the worst luck. I mean, except in terms of loot. I've explored a lot of dungeons to not have any level up. Yeah, I didn't even think to look at the stats. Pretty average. I get that they didn't want not to try one thing. You to just be able to level up by staying in the opening area and farming enemies. Oh, come on. Okay. But it's can feel very slow. So because you can't see it, my flow is filling all the rooms that I've been in with red, and then every time I die, I undo a lot of moves. Okay. But because I don't like clicking back and forth as much, I will bulk do them, which means sometimes I'm not entirely sure if I actually visited a room or not. Because I'm thinking about too many things at once. Yep. Good news is now I have this lesson number memorized. Why did I go into this room? Okay. Yeah. Didn't even mark anything that time. Well, I saved this one, so you'll get to see how annoying the flow is. And of course, this is the one that's going to have some survivability. Give me cleric spell, more importantly, an extra hit die. You already use the character number. This generally runs with only one slot left, unless someone hasn't cleared their saves. So wait, can you cast multiple spells? Big if true, because that is something I did not implement in my game. So generally speaking, you want to go through corridors whenever you can. Sometimes I'll autopilot into going through rooms, but then you can't run, so it's less ideal. Some ways I'm not completely upset that the character I'd stored didn't make it. Level 6 probably isn't going to be good for me. No? Okay. But as you can see, it's just 200 experience points. mechanic is kind of interesting because it makes you actually pick a direction, which isn't something most other games do. Now, it doesn't matter if you run in the direction of the enemy, it despawns them either way, but it's you can't like run into a wall. It won't let you do that. It says you have to pick a valid direction to run, which is not a choice I think you'd see in modern games. It's kind of like a weird fiddly bit that doesn't make a mechanical difference to the game, but I think it gives it a little bit of flavor, even if that flavor doesn't necessarily make sense. There's not been a lot of treasure for this character, or even really monster encounters. I keep thinking, surely I must be out of spell slots because I've run through so many rooms. But no, no encounters either. There we go. Feeling is just dragging this one out for me. And this is probably gonna be my death. Oh no, okay, okay. Yeah, the one treasure I get that's actually it's not even that much money. But yeah, oh, I hadn't even noticed that I. Okay, well, that was lucky. I am Literally not paying too much attention as I forgot that I was in a combat encounter and did not leave. That's kind of what I'm getting at, where you do need to be paying some attention because you have to bring up your number of spell slots. So it's easy to go on autopilot, not even clock that you're in an encounter and need to get back. I forget if I've mentioned this. Each creature type has its own image, which is why a lizard looked like a rat. But in some ways, it's more useful because the individual creature doesn't matter as much as the level and the type. Not getting a lot of pressure in this run either. You could do without these pathetic random encounters making me run back. At least give me a level 4 so I'm getting some experience. The tension in this game is that as you explore more and more of the dungeon, you need to go further and further in order to get more loot. And that's why, one, you need a chance of higher level creatures near the start because someone could just grind their way to victory. But you also need maybe a little bit lower on the end of creature experience. But it does mean that this is really swingy because I'm just getting no loot. I think I've explored maybe a fifth, a sixth of the dungeon. So I'm having a higher chance of running into multiple encounters wearing me down, but I simply don't have the resources to have a chance of surviving more than one encounter. Like there is a chance, not good words, but the chance is pretty low. And if I'm doing it multiple times, the odds of me surviving are not exactly high. Now I don't know if that's as a shared loot pool that is distributed between the rooms, or if it's just every room has certain odds of spawning loot that's okay. Well, I'm dead. It is rolled every time you enter a room. So could I get three 6,000 value gems, or could I get zero? My version, it's a static set of treasures that rolls and are placed randomly throughout the dungeon. Right, I think I'm actually going to call it at an hour 30 because feeling my interest in playing this waning, and I don't be foolish to burn myself out on something I'm doing for fun. Although this character is not a good character to go out on. Let's see. Okay. So that's it's not the character stats I would have chosen for this, but that's like blast bolt. Okay. And as you see, that cleared out all my mage spells. Not on my cleric though. I forget what I did. Well, that's it for Eric. I think I do have enough time for one. We'll see if okay can use the stats if I want to. Get one with strength bonus. I got the lowest possible roll. That's something. Oh, I had I had the highest, but I went right off of it. Hit point total is pretty low, but the dex is good. Constitution is bad. That's interesting. I think he might have hung. Doesn't like the name Hank, I guess. Well, that seems like as good a point as I need to call it. Thank you for not watching this because no one is going to watch an hour and a half of someone playing Piedit occasionally talking. But yeah, that's Piedit. Oh, okay, never mind. It got there eventually. Frank's still not making my break-ins succeed very often. It's giving me a lot of trash right now. That's less than ideal. Okay. Well, okay. All right. So that is it with the death of Hank. Maybe I'll revisit this, try doing a run per day, or maybe I won't. Well, thank you for watching. If this looks interesting, you can play pedit5. It is available, like I said. Go to cyber1.org. They'll give you instructions to log in. You'll probably want to use a demo login with pterm. You want to play a game inspired by pedit5 or the dungeon that is a little bit easier and a little bit more accessible. You can try my game, Standard Deviations GGB. Grim Gauntlet Beneath on my itch page, khutchins.itch.io.